Okay, guys. It's been a long time. Thanks G2A for sponsoring the channel. Reference link in the description below. Have to get that in there because I haven't done a video for like 3 weeks. So massive, massive appreciation to G2A who put up with me despite my absolute rubbishness. Why haven't I posted a video for 3 weeks? Well, I'm about 3 weeks into my new job and it has been very full on. I'll describe to you what my day looks like, guys. Okay, I wake up at 7 AM with this little monkey sleeping on my right and my other little monkey sleeping on my left. We get up, we have breakfast, we get monkey number 1 ready for nursery, and then I go to work, start at 8:30. I start at 8:30 so I can finish at 5, and that allows me to go and pick up my monkey number 1 from nursery. And then come home, I do everyone's dinner, or my wife obviously does. I don't do it myself, Emily helps out. However, we have entered into this phase with my 3-year-old Rupert, where he will not sleep unless I am in the room sleeping on the same bed. So I've had to put my mattress, my king-size mattress, on his floor next to his bed, and then I kind of get into bed and give him cuddles until he goes to sleep. Unfortunately, I usually end up falling asleep as well, about 9 PM, which means I just get 0 time in the day to do anything other than babies, sleep, work. So I decided to try and do this at the end of my workday before I go and pick up my little monkey number 1 from nursery. And to tell you that I'm still, honestly, it's been a challenge since I started work trying to figure out my video upload schedule. I don't know how to do it. I keep saying I know how to do it, but I definitely don't. And it's been a problem. I don't want it to be a problem. I really do want to continue doing videos because I love it and I love interacting with you guys as much as I can. But it's just very hard work right now. Anyway, let's talk about the patch because it's a cool one. Cool for the reason that SION's getting released. Now, Samira, kind of an AD carry, or is an AD carry. I think she's going to be really powerful in Wild Rift. So I think we're going to see a lot of Samira, especially if she's like has good numbers on release, because she is a little bit like Katarina in the sense that she can just take over a team fight way too quickly if you give her the space to do so. So I definitely think Samira is going to be a high priority if she's got the good numbers on release. We're also getting my boy. Oh yeah, I will fully embody the SION 1 trick once this guy is released. And if anybody picks SION away from me, I will find you and send you a mean letter telling you not to pick SION again. Can't wait for this guy. I haven't done a champion guide in so long, but trust me, I will be doing a champion guide for SION. I don't know why every eye is highlighted red in this. Every eye is highlighted red. Can you see that? Anyway, all coming out next week, 26th of August. Blitzcrank, despite previous buffs, this robot is still feeling a bit rusty. Well, yeah, I mean, the problem with Blitzcrank is that it doesn't matter how you buff him, his kit is still Blitzcrank, which is basically, you have a grab. Arthur, yeah, hi. You have a grab, and if you don't hit your grab, you're not a champion. So there isn't really any other way of getting around this, right? Blitzcrank is just his grab. I know they tried to do a little bit with giving him like a kind of inbuilt righteous glory, but what do you do when you get there? You can maybe punch someone, or you can do an AoE silence, which can be useful in the... Yeah? Which can be useful in the right circumstances to, silence the enemy that are making blah blah sounds like Arthur is. But ultimately, what is Blitzcrank? He is a hook. You pick Blitzcrank for his hook, and if you don't land his hook, you are not a champion. Oh my god, it's hailing outside. Damn, we went from like 40-degree heat to hail. Here's some interesting changes. I think these changes are going to make, they're going to make Gragas really, really, really strong. Gragas has been feeling a bit under the weather, so we're boosting his sustain and his payout for getting close to enemies if he's building damage. They're giving him back 1% of his maximum health on happy hour, which is pretty nice. Where have you thrown that? You're getting a 10% AP ratio buff on his Drunken Rage hit, and you're getting a 10% AP ratio buff. Oh my goodness, it's absolutely... Is that rain or is something leaking? One second, guys. Is that rain or is something leaking? Because it certainly looks like something's just leaked out of my top. I don't know. I'm just going to sit here and look at the ridiculous amount of water that's pouring out outside my window. I might actually just show you. Oh, it's literally just stopped. Okay, that must have been rain of some sort. That was so weird. It was like a freak pouring of rain coming out from like the windows. I mean, no, okay, I'll show you. But you guys can't see it. I can't show you it on the camera. But it was like dripping off the bricks, which makes it feel like it's like coming directly out of the walls. I kind of want to go and have a look at this, actually. It looks a bit suspect. Okay, it really is raining that hard, but the reason it's doing that outside my window is because my gutters are overflowing, which basically tells me that I need to go and clear my gutters out, probably at some point this week, but there we go. Anyway, Gragas, 10% AP ratio buffs on both his second and third ability, and some extra sustain. I think this is going to make Gragas super good. I think he's already really good in certain situations right now. I think AP Gragas is pretty strong, but this is going to make AP Gragas jungle pretty strong. I think definitely up there in terms of picks. He was already a pretty high tier pick for some junglers. And I think AP Gragas in the Baron lane could make a bit of a comeback here. Really, 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 really big buffs, and I think is going to make Gragas feel quite nice to play. So I'm very, very excited about this because I have a very high mastery on Gragas, so I'm excited about playing him some more. Kassadin is broken, and I can tell you what, it's... Shush. Kassadin's broken, and I can tell you what, it's not his health that's broken. It might make him slightly easier to kill in the laning phase, but he gets to level 5 so quickly in Wild Rift it doesn't matter. So that the whole part of Kassadin's kit where he's not good is so easily... You can get past it so easily in Wild Rift. Darling. Hello. Come on. Hey. Come on. You can get past it so easily in Wild Rift. So yeah, I'm not certain this base health nerf is going to put Kassadin in a bad spot. I think Kassadin's going to remain okay. Just be slightly easier to kill, I would imagine. Kha'Zix is dominant in the jungle, and basically they want to nerf him, so they're going to reduce his isolation damage by 10% scaling. I still think 100% isolated target damage is good, and I'd say 10% is a sizable nerf. Like, that's a pretty sizable nerf. But I still think Kha'Zix will remain a decent pick in solo queue. Like, Kha'Zix just preys on disorganized teams, and solo queue is never organized. Still annoying that they're not nerfing Lee Sin, because Lee Sin has just remained one of the strongest junglers in the game for quite some time. But Kha'Zix was one of his best contenders, and now Kha'Zix is getting nerfed a little bit here. Lucian is apparently too strong, so they are giving him a 1.5 second increase on his piercing light cooldown in the early game. This will disappear very quickly. You obviously you get to level 4 of your piercing light super early on into the game. I will say that 1.5 seconds might be enough to be a difference maker in the laning phase. Sorry about Arthur, by the way, guys. My wife's gone to work, so I've got him. This is the only time I can make videos, is when I've got the kids. The fact that it's going down in the early laning phase might be a bit of a nuisance for Lucian players. I think, Lucians were able to kind of be super aggressive in that stage of the game. I still think Lucian will be a very high tier pick right now. And obviously that cooldown increase goes down the more levels that you put into piercing light, and sort of normalizes by the time that you get to level 4. So you might lose like some level 1 to 5 laning power, just a little bit of level 1 to 5 laning power, but not a huge amount, where it's going to make Lucian unplayable. Yeah, Nautilus is in a weird spot. Like, I think he should be good, but he just doesn't feel... The problem is that tanks suck right now, and he doesn't feel very tanky in general. They're upping his movement speed, they're decreasing the cooldown on Dredge line, and they're increasing the speed at which it connects with its target, and they're also essentially increasing the rate at which depth charge accelerates towards its target, as well as reducing its cooldown. So that's good. I think there's some good changes for Nautilus. Again, it remains to be seen, because ultimately Nautilus is supposed to be a bit of a tankier engaged support, but he doesn't feel very tanky in the current game state. So he's quite easy to kill and get rid of. But I think these are some good changes, and hopefully put Nautilus in the spot where I think he should be. Like, he should be a really strong pick into the Enchanter meta. He's one of the best picks you can have into Yuumi, for instance, but we're not really seeing him played. I think mostly because Thresh has kind of been the sort of the dominant support of choice for engage supports, as well as the fact that Nautilus just hasn't felt very good to play in Wild Rift as of yet. So, you know, this might put Nautilus in a spot where he's a little bit more viable, especially with how, you know, Enchanter dominated the meta is. Shyvana is apparently too strong. So they're reducing her health per level, so she's going to lose about 140 health overall. And she's getting a burnout damage per second decrease by 5 at every level. Shyvana was already a pick that in low elo will dominate, and in high elo definitely has her bad matchups where you have to be a bit more careful. And I don't think these changes are going to suddenly change that. I think Shyvana's still going to be super strong. They're not changing the way her abilities are scaling with the Dragon Blood passive, so I think like ultimately you're still going to see Shyvana get played in solo queue quite a decent amount. You're a little monkey. See, I actually don't think Tristana needs a buff. I think Tristana is pretty good right now. Like, I think she's decent. But they're going to decrease in the cooldown on her rapid fire, her main self-steroid DPS ability by 2 seconds. And they're also basically cutting in half the cast time for explosive charge so that she doesn't have to spend so long breaking her basic attack functions to cast it. Still, these, I mean, I already think Tristana's pretty good, and these changes are quite nice, especially for Shyvana, Tristana's scaling into the game. So I think these are going to be some decent changes for Tristana, and she's going to be stronger than she currently is, potentially. I think she's already pretty good, by the way, but this might put her up there alongside some of the other AD carries. Okay, so Living Vengeance, which is his passive, where he gets, I think, passive increased attack speed. That's going up based on champion level, so it's not going to be 5 seconds at every rank. It's going to go up throughout the game. Blighted Quiver, the cooldown's coming down. Ooh! Well, they are, that's like 10 seconds off the cooldown in the late game. That's pretty good. This, by the way, this isn't going to be just for his attack-centric builds. Like, Blighted Quiver is also excellent for his piercing arrow builds, as is Hail of Arrows. I think this just makes Varus better overall for both build paths, and I don't think this is going to encourage people to play on-hit Varus. I genuinely think this is going to continue to empower lethality, you know, arrow spam Varus, because Blighted Quiver, remember, when you activate it, it empowers your next blighted arrow that hits. So yeah, I think this is going to be good for all Varus builds, but especially the current popular Varus build is going to be strong. Oh, okay, so Wukong can jump over more walls. Wukong's already good, by the way. Great in Baron Lane, great in jungles. So I think this is nice, allowing a bit more flexibility with the walls that he can jump over. Yuumi is too broken. So they're reducing the pop and block shield by 25 in the early game, which is not insignificant. And the heal on Zoomies is coming down by 20 at every rank. She's still going to be good, guys. Hello. No. Right. Rune changes. I think cut down means giant slayer, by the way. Cut down was meant to as an option to counter high health enemies, but it hasn't been succeeding. To make this more impactful, we're increasing the minimum damage that it provides and reducing how much health a foe needs to want to Oh, guys! Tanks already suck! 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 Why do you make them suck even more? 500 bonus max health for 10% damage is nutty. That's like 2 bruiser items and you've got almost 500 bonus health. Yeah, I'm not certain about this, guys. I think this is... I don't like this change. This just makes tanks suck even more. Feels bad to be a tank player. Well, yeah. Yeah, bruiser and tank player, to be honest with you. Since its release, Demolish has been slightly underperforming. Has it? I think everyone's been running it. At least one person on the team runs it. So it's going to deal a little bit more damage to towers. Cool. Nimbus Cloak hasn't been making the impact. So they're buffing Nimbus Cloak. I play Nimbus Cloak on load of champions. So obviously everyone can use Nimbus Cloak, so it's not really a buff for anyone in particular. Obviously better for like low mobility carries overall versus people that aren't running Nimbus Cloak. But yeah, I run Nimbus Cloak already on a decent amount of champions. Nullifying Orb has been one of the most dominant defensive runes. It has indeed. So you're going to get 20 less base shield. Fair enough. Hurts it in the early game laning phase. Obviously becomes less impactful as the game scales up. That 20 change anyway becomes less impactful. Yeah, so there are some elemental dragons that I think are OP. Mountain Dragon is nutty, which I agree. And we felt that Elder Dragon could use a cement to boost its spot as the premier late game objective. Okay, so armor and magic resist is going down by a decent chunk, but you still get a good reward for obtaining at least 3. I mean, 6 plus 4% isn't the most insane amounts of stats that you get, but 12 plus 8 is still good. So, you know, if you're on a 3 dragon and you get mountain, you're still going to feel it's quite impactful. Because 2 mountains right now is already pretty impactful. So you're getting kind of an equivalent buff, but you need to have 3 of the dragons to get that same mountain buff this time around. But I agree, because I do think mountain is kind of OP and it needed these changes. Infernal is getting a slight nerf at 1 and 2, but will be the same at 3. Fair enough. And Ocean is getting a nerf, even though Ocean is the crappiest one of the lot. Or at least most people think that Ocean is the crappiest one of the lot. So all dragons are getting a nerf, basically. They were kind of strong, most of them, like especially Infernal and Mountain. But yeah, this makes sense. Elder Dragon buff is also getting buffed to 100 damage per 1 second, which is crazy. A lot of damage. Elder was already pretty OP. System changes. Exhaust has been way too good, and we're reducing the range by 2. So that's interesting. I think that's going to make enchanters running Exhaust and maybe even AD carries running Exhaust a little trickier for them, but I still think Exhaust will be a rune of choice because there are a lot of assassins right now, and we kind of need it. We've seen a lot of feedback about turret plating and have heard how much you've enjoyed it, but also that you've been wanting to have some more time to interact with the plates. So basically, we've got 30 seconds extra of plates. Interesting. Now that turrets become more durable as you damage them due to turret plating, we're relaxing some of the previous restrictions we had around early turret takes. Mid lane and Baron lane turrets, 50 in armor and magic resist for the first 2 minutes. Okay, so you can take plates a little quicker after 2 minutes. Interesting. Do I think this is going to change the game significantly? Probably not, but it just if you're dominating lane, this just gives you more chance to funnel gold into yourself before those plates drop. So, you know, I think this is going to allow people who snowball the early game to snowball harder with that extra 30 seconds window. And also the fact that you're reducing the armor and magic resist after 2 minutes now, which means especially if you're in a bot lane that kind of dominates, you can probably very easily get three plates on one push, which will allow you to snowball really quickly. Outer turrets can execute 2v1 or 3v2 smoothly in the early game without significant risk. While we don't want these plays happening in some cases, there isn't quite enough risk when making these plays. So basically, making towers hurt more, but hurt less late game. So yeah, basically towers are going to hurt more from the very get-go, which is good because towers feel a little bit insignificant at times, especially from protecting against dives. Turret anti-siege mechanism expiration. Rather than syncing this mechanic with the turret plating itself, we're linking it up with the spawn timer of the first neutral objective. This mechanic is designed to discourage players from grouping up during the laning phase, but we encourage grouping up with your teammates so you can snag those early objectives. We want to make sure that we're not explicitly discouraging it via turrets, while it's encouraged for other objects at the same time. For the first 5 minutes, the turret will gain bonus resistances when there are multiple enemy champions nearby. So basically, by the time the first dragon spawns, though, that you could technically group up around a tower and take it more effectively. So you could more effectively make the decision as a team to go and take a tower rather than the dragon, for instance. So just worth noting that. There we go. Again, I do apologize, guys, for not being able to provide as much content recently. It's just been... I have no idea where I'm supposed to fit an extra 2 hours of my day in to even make a video. I actually I took 15 minutes off work to do this one, and I still had this baby with me the whole time. So, hey. Right, got to go pick up my other son from nursery, guys. I really appreciate you all, and yeah, I'll see you soon.